Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy.
We give you the courtesy of conversation.
That's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac.
I'm Wesley.
And this is the show. So breaking news today. Before we start, like, listen, subscribe. Thanks to everybody that's already subscribing and viewing our show. Shout out to our sponsor, Doc Loves the Kids and Crime Scene Seasoning. Don't forget to pick up a box here at the link below. As we start here, AOC, Alexandria, Ocasio-Cortez, hopefully I said her middle name right, has actually just introduced an article of impeachment against Supreme Court Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. I'm going to read you a little piece of the paragraph and then tell you what the impeachments are. She says, Justice Thomas and Alito repeated failure over decades to disclose that they received millions of dollars in gifts from individuals with businesses before the court is explicitly against the law. And their refusal to recuse from specific matters and cases before the court in which their benefactors and spouses are implicated represents nothing less than a constitutional crisis. These failures alone would amount to a deep transgression worthy of standard removal in any lower court and would disqualify any nominee to the highest court from confirmation in the first place. And so I'm going to read the first impeachment resolution includes the following impeachment articles against Justice Thomas. Failure to disclose financial income, gifts, reimbursements, property interests, liabilities, transactions, among other information. Refusal to recuse from matters concerning his spouse's legal interests in cases before the court. Refusal to recuse from matters involving his spouse's financial interests in cases before the court. The second impeachment resolution includes the following impeachment article against Justice Alito. Refusal to recuse from cases in which he had personal bias or prejudice concerning a party in cases before the court. And failure to disclose financial income, gifts, reimbursements, property interests, liabilities, transactions, and among other information.
Yeah, they've been failing to recuse themselves from like so many different issues. It's just been pretty much ridiculous. I mean, you look at Clarence Thomas first and foremost. You know, his wife was one of the planners for
orchestrators of January 6th.
That's a better word for it. Orchestrators,
yes.
Of January 6th. I mean, she was part of orchestrating the entire, putting together the entire plot to go to the Capitol. I think she was even planning it with the Proud Boys. I mean,
she bussed the people in there. She she paid for the buses to bus a lot of the people there.
It's just really easy and convenient to say, I don't know what my wife does. And you've been married for 30, 40, whatever years you've been married to this woman, but you have no idea what your wife does. And you're a Supreme Court justice. There's going to be some kind of conversation within your home.
If they even live together. I mean, have you seen his wife? But I mean, have you seen him? They probably got that Wednesday special. Ooh, it's Wednesday, baby. Know what that is? Put on Sanford and Son. Let's get busy.
It just seems like a very, very convenient. Just like with Alito, They had the upside down flag, which represents the fact that they don't election deniers.
Well, the upside down flag means it's like the country's like kind of in distress. That's what it started with. I learned that from watching this the movie The Man in a Castle, I think it was, where it was about a military jail. And this like general or something had to go in there and everyone loved him for some reason, but they were going to hang the flag upside. It means like you're in distress or something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think, did that have, I think Bruce Willis in it or somebody like that? One of those
I don't know. I think the guy from Sopranos was in it. Okay. He was the warden.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
They sprayed him with the hose. They made a rock castle and they sprayed him with the hose and the rocks was hitting them.
And they also, another flag they were flying at the same time, which is all a part of the same exact, election deniers, Trumpism, and they've kind of shown what side of the aisle that they're standing on. You're supposed to be a Supreme Court justice. Yes, you can have your own personal views, but follow the law. But if you allow your skewed right-wing views to dictate the law, then there's a problem. Because in reality, if you really look at it, like I said, I had a friend of mine once tell me like, hey, you guys have the Justice Department and you guys have the White House and we have the Supreme Court, which is like, people know that there hasn't been one Republican, I think, since probably Reagan, who's won the popular vote in this country. I don't know if Donald Trump will do it or not with everything that's going on right now.
No, there's a lot of information. I mean, once the 2025 project is catching on, people are realizing what's really at stake. I mean, I talked to this girl the other day. I was just saying hi to her, and she was like, she's so stressed about this election coming up. Like a lot of people are concerned about it because a lot of people they know they don't have a place in Donald Trump's America.
I mean, it needs to be talked about, and we got to get into it a lot more than really what we're even into it.
We're talking about a lot of topics. I see the mainstream media is shooting themselves in the foot. They just keep talking about Joe Biden and what he's not doing. But I mean, these Supreme Court justices, they don't have to, navigate the law. They're just making it themselves.
I think that the media is also just really trying not to be seen as like in cahoots with.
Someone posted that up. They're like, look, you're trying to be fair, but there's like one side that's totally just lying and giving you false information. You need to follow the truth.
You look at the Epstein papers that just came out.
Yeah.
With
Donald Trump
all over them. They're not even talking about. They haven't even touched that. That's just not even being discussed.
Well, they're not allowed to say Epstein on the news.
I don't think they are
either.
Man. I think
there was a lady. Man. I think it was ABC News. She had a whole Epstein story, and they fired her for it
because there's other people who are involved in this.
Yeah.
And for them to have released as much information with Trump's name in it, with all the stuff, making late night phone calls to this lady. I mean, to this guy at 3 a.m. on flights with him, going places with him, buddy with him. He was like, I barely knew the guy. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, no, he knew him. And it's major. It's like his name's all over. I think they had
90 something phone calls between the two. They were hanging out like buddies.
They got video of him where he's dancing with him. He's like, ooh, I like her. She's hot.
And they also got a thing where I think there was a 14-year-old or something like that who accused Epstein and Trump
of raping her, and then she dropped the case because of death threats. It's crazy? Like, European Americans don't care if the other ones rape people. I've just noticed that.
Jesus.
Look at Josh. Look, they're online. They talk. I said it, bro. I said it. Prove me wrong. They need to prove me wrong. Okay, the Catholic Church was raping little boys. They didn't do nothing to them. Look at Josh Giddey. They're complaining about Karl Malone, who hadn't played basketball since the 90s. Talking about, he had a baby with a 13-year-old. Josh Giddey was playing for the OKC Thunder. They got videos of him with the minor.
It's a little bit different, though, because I think, the girl was at the club. You know what I'm saying?
Nah. She was young. They even talked to the girl. He didn't even get suspended. They didn't even talk to him about it. They wouldn't even bring it up on ESPN. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot. They do a lot of rape and pedo things.
This is what I'm going to say. I believe that power gets passes more than anything else here. I believe that there was that guy, that Prince, whoever the guy was from England.
Yeah.
Was it Prince? I don't remember what
he was. One of some random dude nobody knew, but he was an old guy. And he got caught on the Epstein stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's the
they
kind
stripped
of stuff
him. They took stuff away from him.
Yeah, but that's the kind of stuff I think they're trying to put, because there's a guy who gave Epstein, who gave him property, right? I think right behind his property, bought him a big estate. I mean, there's a lot going on here. In 2000, I think it was 2003, 2004. Not to get into this, but he got caught up for like 90-something counts of rape, some kind of ridiculous amount. You would go away forever. He didn't really get any time. They dropped the ball in the case and let him free.
In New York.
They could have already had him for all this stuff. But all I'm saying is I think it's
they
more.
Went back and questioned the judge about
power. You look at the Catholic Church, man. They are the largest landowners in the entire world. They own some of the most stocks, if not the most stocks in the entire world. That's a powerhouse. That's a juggernaut. You're not. Yeah. I don't know if it's just the overall looked at as
the remnants of Rome.
I don't know if it's overall looked at as just who cares who does it? I think it's just who does it.
No, they knew who was doing the touching of the little kids, and what they did is all right, you've touched too many little kids all over at this church, so we're going to move you to another church where you can get some fresh ones. But I'm just saying, they're okay with it. You know what I'm saying? If they weren't, you would do something about it. You can't just be running up in pizza shops trying to be a hero when you got people out here that are actively molesting children and raping women, and you're just like, well, what about OJ? You know what I'm saying? Like,
they do that a lot, just like they throw it out on Puffy. They do it. They do it
every time. Every time somebody that's white gets in trouble, they find a black dude to attack too.
Jeez.
Think about it. When Josh Giddey was in trouble, they're attacking the black lady that's supposed to report on it because she's not reporting on it enough. I'm like, are you serious? This man's in the pictures with the 14-year-old girl doing it up. They got the picture. I just fucked Josh Giddey. Oh,
she wasn't 14. I think she was like, I don't know. I think he was like 19 or something like that. Or
you're a grown ass man.
Or 20. She
was 14 years old.
This is not me condoning what happened. I'm just the situation.
She just had her chocolate milk at lunch.
Okay, yeah, you're right. But
there's
what
pictures
I'm saying
of them half naked. She's like, I just fucked Josh Giddey. They talked to the parents. They found the girl, but they don't want to cooperate. When have you ever needed someone to cooperate on some stuff like that when you got the evidence?
I just don't want to put out fake.
R. Kelly went to jail because of Lifetime movies.
About what was true about the case. You know what I mean? I know that they said that he met her in like a 21 and up club. So, you know what I mean? It's like a lot of different stuff.
I've heard about dudes still going to jail for that.
I'm not saying he shouldn't have went to jail.
Have you heard about guys going to jail for that? I have. I met her in a club.
I'm not, listen, this is not me condoning. I'm just saying it's different when it's a grown ass man and they're almost probably 3 years apart. You know what I mean? Like those people are like 3 years apart. You're talking about like a 14-year-old versus 30-something-year-old Trump and 30-something-year-old Epstein. And you know what I mean? It's just a little bit, the situations are different. There's nuances to it that changes it. That does, if he would have raped the girl, I think that would be different too. But that was kind of a consensual whatever they had going on.
She was still a minor.
Let's move on. Let's move back over to
all right. Back to where we were.
I agree with you, but I'm just saying I do believe that just with this whole Supreme Court thing, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't think it's going to have any legs. I don't think it's going to, you know what I mean, at all. So I just don't think that she has. They don't have the.
At least our future president did something about it.
What do you mean?
Oh, AOC, I'd vote for her.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'd vote for a comment. Yeah, they're like, oh, that's what you get, your waitress. I'm like, yes, I'd vote for an ex-waitress over somebody that was like, what trust fund?
You're voting for people who have rape charges, who have all kind of different charges. Doesn't really matter anymore.
I usually vote for myself.
What do you say?
When it's time for the presidency, I vote for myself. I voted for Obama twice. I ain't gonna lie. You see me. But like I voted for myself every other time. I just put my name in there. DMAC Uno.
But yeah, man, I would love to see this case kind of go somewhere as far as with Alito and with Thomas, but I just don't see it having any kind of real legs to it because we don't run the House. You know what I mean? The Republicans run the House. And so it just doesn't really. And
it's sad to think like, oh, what are they going to ignore the facts? I'm like, they've been ignoring them for the last 7 years. So,
Ukraine is on an irreversible path to NATO, but only after war with Russia ends. The 32 members of NATO on Wednesday formally declared Ukraine on an irreversible path to membership in the Western Military Alliance, offering a bare but more binding assurance of protection once its war with Russia ends. NATO member countries individually and in Wednesday's joint statement from their summit in Washington announced a series of steps aimed at bolstering Ukraine's defenses. That includes U.S., the Netherlands, and Denmark announcing that first NATO-provided F-16s will be in the hands of Ukrainian military pilots by this summer. I mean, you know that they just had this was like the 75th anniversary. I think it was on Monday. I think when they first started, they did the 75th anniversary, and Russia bombed like they said they didn't directly bomb, but it was a children's hospital in Ukraine that got bombed. And, I think like 75 people.
Supposedly Ukrainians bombed that hospital, bombed their own hospital for a photo op.
To me, I'm not going to say they bombed their own hospital. That's a pretty big. They showed the bomb that Russia was allegedly had shot at them. But to me, it's like, I'm going to blow up my own people. I will say one thing.
Hey, come on now. The more we learn about 9/11, the more we kind of just think, wait a minute.
Hey, I'm going to be honest with you. I did see two people on television the other day, and I was like, they look like crisis actors. I swear, man. The dude was like, he had a baby, and it was a lady with him, right? And he was like, they just blew the building up, blah, blah, blah. And the baby falling asleep. I'm like, man, they just blew the building up. I'm thinking the baby don't really know what's going on.
Why would the baby be shook? All the baby wants is titty and his diaper change.
But then look, the lady sits there and all of a sudden her hand just starts shaking uncontrollably. I'm like, it just looked like crisis actors to me. But you know what I mean? At the same time, but who's to say? I can't sit back. Yeah. I do believe that Russia tried to send a message, and this is what happened. They probably blew up a building that they probably should not have blown up.
The beach got hit up in Russia, so I'm surprised it took them this long to actually do something if they did it. They should have been bombing them back. Russia could have been took Ukraine. Like I'm saying, I don't know. It's like trying to stop an endangered species when there's only one left.
I don't really, why you say that?
Because we keep helping this. It's okay. So in China, they have these pandas, right? And the panda's natural habitat is gone. I think we talked about this before. Yeah, and they keep them in this like building to keep them alive. And so my whole thing is like, if this is the only way you can keep the pandas alive, maybe you should let them die so the world can realize what's really going on. Ukraine should have been gone after 2 weeks, but we just keep giving them money and giving them weapons and giving them money.
But you gotta look at it like this too. At the same time,
we need their natural resources.
If it was just going to be gone within 2 weeks, but all they needed was weapons to fight with, you know what I mean? Like I said, somebody could have gave any country weapons, and they're not going to beat us. We're still going to overrun them.
Yeah, and I always say, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
I mean, there's just no way they were going to be able to ever spend as much as Russia.
Yeah.
Their GDPs are just totally different. It's a totally different ballgame. They wouldn't be able to. I mean, and I know that other countries, if they get past Ukraine, we talked about this. If they get past Ukraine, you got Poland next door. Belarus already next door to Poland already.
Poland got an army?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say
Poland,
they can fall too.
But you know who has an alliance with Poland? NATO. You know who's in NATO? We are. You know who? If NATO goes to war, who got to go to war? We do. You know who else is next after if this place falls? Latvia, Estonia, you know who got who they have really small militaries, like 24,000 people. Like they get overran in a day.
They ain't got military.
It pretty much is the homies. They got an
Alabama militia. That's all that is.
They pretty much got the homies. So, but if they go to war, we got to go to war. You know what I mean? And so
you can't even call out. Your army's so small, you can't even call out for work. They be like, no. I see you inside your house watching Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Now, come on. Let's go right now.
It's like 3 countries, man. They probably got a combined army of like 75,000 people. Maybe.
They get wiped during a commercial break.
I wouldn't even let them in NATO, but you know why they did vote though? Because we're landlocked.
It's the territory,
Yeah, man. With that move, it's like, okay, now if you get these guys, it's like, man, they can't protect nobody. They can't even help us. I need people who can help me in a war. You know what I mean?
If I fall back, who got America's back? Nobody.
I mean, let me see.
Okay. I never heard no country being like, we're sending America money to help with your natural disasters. Not nary one. Not nary one. I ain't seen what they sell in the UK. What's the money? I ain't seen nary one.
A pound. You ain't seen a franc. You ain't seen a euro.
Nobody sent a bamboo tree.
I ain't seen a good goddamn thing from there.
The French sent a Statue of Liberty and they changed it from black. No, you can't have. We don't want that. No, we don't, sir. Take that tall nigger away.
Bro.
Hey, hold on. I got one. Hold on. Cuba foils plot to sneak arms onto island from U.S., officials say. Cuba has foiled plots to sneak arms and ammunition onto the Caribbean island from the United States, detaining nearly 36 people in a broader scheme authorities say sought to destabilize its government, a Cuban Interior Ministry official said on Monday. Cuba first unveiled details of the plot last December when authorities said a Cuban man residing in the United States arrived on the island by jet ski, armed with guns, ammunition, military gear, and recruits others and commits acts of violence.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're trying to get arms into They're
trying to get the arms. These people were like they were Cubans, and they came back, and they were bringing guns so they could overthrow the government.
I mean,
on the U.S.'s word, I'm
going to tell you, like, that kind of sounds like, to me, that sounds like somebody's trying to help overthrow the government of Cuba. I mean, to me, I'm going to be honest with you, if you were to, this is not like...
America want them classic cars back.
I'm not against Cuba. I definitely would love to travel to Cuba at some point in time. I would. But if it's me, I'm probably going to take over Cuba. If I'm the United States, it's in our best interest, man. Like, why am I going to let Russia 90 miles off of our borders?
Yeah.
To get to go to Cuba. Cuba keep on letting
people. We were cool with Cuba, remember? Jay-Z and Beyonce.
We haven't been cool with Cuba.
No, remember when people were allowed to go to Cuba for a little bit. Yeah, Jay-Z and Beyonce went there.
That was during Obama.
Yeah, and then the Russians started like attacking people with sonic weapons. Supposedly.
I think Trump just wanted to shut
anything Obama did. He's like, we don't want to.
We're going to shut this down anyways, unless they're going to give me something out of it. Trump's one of them kind of people.
He's like, if I can't fly from Epstein's island to Cuba, I don't want to go.
I don't want nothing to do with it, man.
He's like, I got to get my young nookie.
Give me all the casinos down here. I want all the rights to casinos. You look what he did in China, man. You remember in China how they had there was some company in China where they were having like we had put sanctions on them or something.
Yeah, he was messing with the trade deals, and then China was like, all right, well, check it out. You want to do that to us? We're gonna stop. No, you can't bring any gooey ducks into our country. And it almost destroyed the gooey duck businesses here in Washington because they sell 90% of their gooey ducks to China.
Yeah, man. And at the same time, though, his daughter was getting these patents. All of a sudden, she got these patents, and all of a sudden, he like said, "Okay, we're no longer going to." They gave Trump like $19 million, some crazy amount. He's like, then he lifted the sanctions, and his daughter got 4 more patents from the same people that he lifted the sanctions from.
They make good money being in the White House. It must be nice to be a person that just everything goes broke that you touch, and you just have an unlimited piggy bank
of money. Just keeps on coming to you.
I mean, he ran our country into the ground, and people are like, "We were good under Donald Trump." I'm like, well, the last year counts. That's.
And I want people to stop also saying like, he has us in all these wars. What war are we in? Name one war we're in right now. I'm gonna be real.
I mean, technically,
no, we're not.
We're not in a single war.
We're not.
We actually left Afghanistan.
We're not in any wars. We haven't been in any wars since Joe Biden has been in office. Yeah. People keep on saying that he has us in all these wars. Trump wouldn't have us in any wars. These are inevitable wars that's going to go on around the world, but we're not in any of them.
And it's crazy how they count Obama as Obama had us in Afghanistan. No, President Bush had us in Afghanistan.
And Obama,
we've been in, and we had to go to Syria because John McCain went down there trying to kiss ass. Like we was back to Obama was about to end the war in Afghanistan, and then John McCain went to Syria, and then we had to keep going through the Middle East.
I mean, we had also we'd also funded some rebels in Syria as well too. They were kind of fighting for us on our side.
This America, we always fund the rebels.
I mean, because in Syria, they're back. They were backed by I think that's Assad. He's backed by Russia. So it's just one of those kind of things. We've always been at odds with Russia. So that's why I'm like right now. I don't like just people are just to me. It's overwhelming to listen to people, the ignorance from them about how much that they really are trying to tout that Donald Trump is he was such a good candidate.
So a lot of people in America have the memories of a goldfish. They don't remember what happened 10 seconds ago. They get what they get offline. It's just ridiculous. Oh, you didn't have us any wars. No, he had our economy was shut down. It was stopped. Okay, you can blame COVID, right? But COVID still happened. He denied it. And instead of being a big boy and being like, I was wrong, he doubled down. Then he told y'all not to take the shot.
We have ever had in our life.
He dragged it on. That's the cold piece about it.
The worst president
last year, Trump, regardless if we had COVID or not, the last year, nobody was working. If you were working, you were forced to work because your job was essential.
He doesn't take responsibility for anything, and y'all are the most. Y'all are what's the word for it, man? When you're like a person. Basically, they allow him to consistently always deny something. Oh, I didn't do this. This was rigged. This is a problem.
That's not what he meant to say. No, he's like, that's what I meant to say. No, what he was trying to say was, I'm just like, you make so many excuses for him. But if Democrats looked at Joe Biden like that, he would just win the election outright.
All the time.
All the time. They want this perfect candidate, which they always keep doing. It's going to be the downfall of the Democrats anyways. Because once I told all the women, I was like, look, I'll save you. You can come stay with me once if Donald Trump gets elected. I will protect you.
I was having that same conversation. I said, people don't know that this world is really ran by people like the best interest of like the best, the hearts of the of people who really care. Yeah, that's how this country really gets by, or just the world in general. Because if the world was just a wild animal, kind of a kingdom, it would be a problem.
Yeah,
it would be a really bad problem. We got some really, really horrible people in this world who would do horrible things if they were allowed to.
And they're doing horrible things now, but there's systems and stuff in place for it not to affect you. Speaking of one, I'd like to cover this one. Appeals court overturns injunction against San Francisco homeless encampment sweeps. San Francisco will be able to sweep encampments of involuntary homeless people as long as it allows residents to recover their personal property, according to a federal appeals court ruling handed down Monday. Why it matters. The ruling, as the court notes, is direct response to the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in June, effectively giving cities the power to enact restrictive laws targeting long-term encampments. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit overturned the injunction that has prevented San Francisco since December 2022 from conducting certain encampment sweeps of people experiencing homelessness. The court, however, kept intact the portion of order that requires the city to adhere to its bag and tag policy of collecting, labeling, and storing unhoused people's property.
Where are you going to put it at?
Where are they going to go?
I mean, where are you going to put all this stuff at? I mean, you know how much stuff people have? Sometimes I've seen a lot of homeless encampments. Been in some myself. And I was like, man, they got a lot of stuff up.
Like, what are you going to do? Hey, whose Prius is this? That's mine. It's for me and Dirty Mike and the boys. I love that movie.
You know, hey,
but I mean, serious though, it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad, especially in San Francisco. You can't even afford to live there if you work at minimum wage, and so now you're homeless, and it's a crime. It's a crime to be poor.
I mean, what can you do about it, though? I mean, if you're not going to supply, we're not going to supply places for these people to stay. What are you going to do?
Have them move into City Hall. Your money paid for it.
Move into City Hall.
Move into City Hall. You're a taxpayer. You were a taxpayer. Your money paid for that City Hall. Why not go live there?
Just be nasty and disgusting and filthy, just rat-ridden and everything in there.
Okay.
You know what it's going to turn into.
Yeah, of course.
Right, look what happened when the Superdome. Look what happened in New Orleans flooded.
That was New Orleans.
Stop it, man.
And they saw them Negroes. They closed the door.
No, I mean, what happened was that when they did close the doors, it turned into a wild jungle.
Yeah, the toilets got clogged up. They started
raping
when you treat people like animals.
It wasn't even like treating them like animals. They didn't have nowhere else to go, so they let them go in there. It's like, okay, I'm not treating you like an animal if everybody's displaced. If everybody, there is no systems anymore. Yeah. The systems are broken down at this point in time. You know what I mean? Like, until people come in with porta potties or whatever.
Well, they had the toilets, but so many people were pooping and stuff.
There's just too many people in here. It's not like a football game where it's like there's a little bit of this 4-hour gap of time, then everyone leaves.
Yeah, not everybody got to take
There was probably way more people than like that could even really fit in there.
Yeah,
and it just
I would have hit the sink.
Oh, goodness, bro. Oh my God. New York,
it's either the sink or the floor. Where do you want it, sir? At least the sink, you can pour some soap on it. It'll disappear.
Mayor Eric Adams unveils first official NYC bin for trash pickup. Announces new rule for this fall. Mayor Eric Adams was joined by the Department of Sanitation Commissioner Jessica Tisch on Monday morning to unveil New York City's first official trash bin outside of Gracie Mansions. In addition to the new bins, officials announced that starting November 12th, landlords with residential buildings with 1 to 9 units will be required to use trash bins with secure latching lids. Many property owners already use bins for their trash and pay over $100 retail in order to keep the streets clean, Tisch said. Well, we've got great news. At the same time that we're moving to require containerization of trash for all buildings with 1 to 9 residential units, we're unveiling official NYC bin, beautiful, durable, and less than $50 for the most common size. So when I'm looking at this, what I'm seeing is this. I'm like, a lot of them probably just dump their trash out on the street. I know I've seen that a lot in like New York. This is why they have such a horrendous rat problem over there. I mean, it's bad. And that's why it stinks there. You go to like most big cities, I would say maybe probably more of the ones back east where it's like that's a little bit different.
Old school.
Oh, yeah, they just dump their trash on the street. So imagine you'll see these guys going picking up trash and just throwing it into the thing. Imagine what's happening at nighttime when you're just throwing trash down right there.
And the rats come out and they eat.
Oh my gosh, they're eating. I
sent you this video. We were talking about it off camera, and there was a rat, folks, and the rat was like this big, right? And so the rat was laying there, and the guy's filming it, and I'm like, dang, that's a big rat. And then you see the bigger rat come out and grab that rat and take it from under.
The bigger rat.
The bigger rat. It was big enough to take that rat and drag it back to where I was like, good God.
Hey,
it was like the size of like a dog.
I saw one that was like, it was inside of like, I don't know if it was like a bodega or something like that.
The one that was running through the aisle?
Okay, it was running back behind like the bodega, and then it ran up behind the cat, and the cat just turned around and looked at it, and the rat was bigger than the cat, and the cat just like ran, like got up out the way of the rat, like, bro, you're huge. This is how big their rats are, man. They said they have such a bad rat problem. You're just seeing them run across, run across the streets, running around the subway system. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I've seen them running like just in the parks. They run across the street. I saw them having an orgy in the park one time in New York.
Yeah, I saw this one lady. She lived in this apartment building, man. And at nighttime, she was just filming in her hallway, and the rats were just like running around in her. I'm like, I couldn't live there.
I was in Seattle one time in the Chinese restaurant.
I don't care, man. I'm not living there.
I'm peeing in urinal, and I see a rat running under my foot. I'm like, well, I'm done eating.
I'm not eating. I'm not there. I can't. Roaches and rats, I don't do them.
Yeah.
Period. I don't, man.
Yeah, no, I don't do rats either. I saw one in my backyard because I live in the woods. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting there and I saw something blur in my eye, and I was wondering why the dog kept going by this freezer that's sitting out there. And the dog just be sitting there. So I moved it. I move it, and you see behind there's a pile of dog food. I'm like, oh, this bitch gotta go.
Oh yeah, you gotta put some.
I'm putting like the little red cube ones and shit.
Poison, get rid of that mug. I mean, I know that sounds like, but man, they got.
Hey, whatever. Better him dead than him inside my house.
When I was younger, we used to when we lived in back east.
Yeah,
you would see stuff like that. People would have roaches in their house. People would have rats. You move out here, it's a little bit different. If you got roaches and rats in your house out here, depending on where you live, I ain't gonna say everybody, but you got roaches out here, man.
If you got roaches and rats, that's gross.
You got roaches and rats a lot.
That means you don't even take your
trash out. You got roaches
out
this bug in Washington. If you live in this state that we right here, something ain't right. I remember the first time I ever seen a roach was in Seattle in this apartment complex. I'm like, they got roaches out here?
Man, I went to this one person's house. It was so dirty. I wiped my feet when I left. I was like, good to be outside in the dirts.
I got
go ahead.
Who makes the Dior and Armani luxury handbags? Exploited workers. 2 luxury made in Italy handbag brands are facing scrutiny after reports of alleged labor exploitation came to light. Probes by prosecutors in Milan, Italy's fashion capital, have revealed that luxury giants Dior and Giorgio Armani pay a small sum to produce handbags that retail for lakhs of rupees. Milan prosecutors are investigating the supply chain of about a dozen fashion brands this year. Here's what we know about the probe involving units of luxury Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, which owns Dior, and Giorgio Armani. The investigation by prosecutors shows that a small manufacturer got as little as $57 to make handbags for Dior. This is exclusive of the cost of raw materials such as leather. The fashion giant sold these items in shops for as much as $2,800.
I mean, if you put it out there and they buy it, I guess that's it. I mean, look, Nike, it costs $28 to make a Nike shoe, and they sell them for $300.
I think somebody's, but that's not $57 and then sell them for $2,800.
I mean, what did Kanye West say one time? Kanye West was like, look, if I run through the streets naked, I'm crazy. But if I get a group of people to do it with me, it's a marathon. You know, if you set the price, it's just up to somebody else. People want to keep up with the Joneses. You see somebody you like, buy it, and you be like, I want one of those.
I think people just didn't know that they're being made. I think this is bigger, I think, than just them just saying it. I think you look at the guy who owns LVMH. I think he's like the third richest person or something like that in the world. He was like number one for a minute. He richest man in the world. I forget his name.
Like Louis Vuitton?
Yeah, man. He owns Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy.
I remember girls.
Spirit brands. He owns luxury brands.
Yeah, girls will buy those little purses for $300. Then you broke, ain't got no money to put in it.
Man, there's not one Louis bag or even a wallet that costs $300. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah,
the wallets for Louis is $1,500.
And I get women be upset. Why do men be? Why can men live so simple? I'm like, a man needs an air mattress, a chair, and a PlayStation and a TV, and he'll be fine. Yeah, I'm just saying. I think this is a broader story that we're not really seeing because they don't care what these people actually are making them for or whatever. Yeah. I think they're attacking his brand. That's what they're doing. They're looking at them like, hey, I want people to know that they're killing him. This is why he's rich, one of the richest people in the world. Think about that. You make something for $57 and can sell it for $2,800. You own your own stores. Those stores that they have out there, it's not like they're on selling them at JCPenney's
contracting store. Yeah, those are your stores. Most of them, sometimes you'll have brands in some of the more where they don't have one of their stores and they'll have them in another, Marche, whoever's out there, But
what you about to say, Bon Marché? This man about to say the Bon Marché. One day only at the Bon Marché.
He's so stupid, right? but they do have like certain sections where they'll put them in stores like that. But I mean, most of the times they have their own stores, their flagships inside of these shopping centers. So he's making buku money. I think someone's like, hey, let's put this out here. Let's say this about him. Let's let everybody know that you're getting gypped.
They can do that. They can do that to everybody. They can do it to everybody. Think, like I just told you, it only costs $30 to make a Nike shoe. They sell them for $300. It don't cost. You're paying for material. You're just paying for a name. That's why, like, if someone rolled up on a truck with me, and was like, "Yo, I got all the knockoffs you want." I said, "Run them. I'll buy. I will buy some knockoff shoes. I don't care."
He say, "Run them,
run them." My son just said, "I'm like, oh, look at these Jordans." He's like, "Yeah, they're fake. I don't wear them." I'm like, "Bro, I'll scrub them up, make them look nice. Who cares? It's the same material." They're like, "Well, the stitching's not the same."
I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be 100 with you, bro. It ain't the same material. It's not.
Okay, cool. They look the same.
They don't look the same. But Jordan be the wrong way. He'll be the dude.
No, it'd be like Shaq and shit.
I'll say they don't be the same. I'm gonna be honest with you. The reason why I even like luxury brands at all is because they're well made, man. They're like really, really well made.
I've had some shorts I've had from Walmart for 8 years and they still work.
Nah, I'm talking.
I'm a regular guy, man. I wear plain shirts, Reeboks.
I'll do the same thing too. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, like, those brands, I got slides and all kind of stuff that I've bought.
I don't ever see no rich people wearing that stuff. I don't ever see rich people wearing that stuff. Rich people try to look poor. They sell them shoes that have holes in them, pants that are all tatted up and faded.
Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Mark Zuckerberg. Those are the rich people that they show us. They try to say, "Oh, look at these rich guys. They don't dress like that. They don't know how to dress, bro." Let's not compare them to the rest of all the other rich people.
I'd wear a potato sack if I had billions of dollars.
I'm just saying, let's not compare those three guys.
While I'm in my Lambo.
But at the same time, too, another thing that's really good about a luxury brand, too, I know that, say if you buy a Louis bag, right? You can return that bag at any time. If there's a problem with it, if it runs into any kind of issue, you can return it back to Louis Vuitton and they'll fix it. Or if they can't fix it, they'll give you a brand new bag. That's lifetime warranty right there. Who else is going to do that? You're going to get that from it. That's bags cost $2,500, $3,000. Yeah. And that's just like a bag, like a duffel or something.
As long as I got the receipt.
You ain't got to even have a receipt. Your name's in the system. They know who you are.
No, I'm saying if I buy a bag from somewhere and something's defective about it, I can bring it back.
How long? Not forever. Not forever. This is forever. This is like if the zipper goes wrong. That's beautiful, man. That's
ridiculous. Hey, I bought this bag 6 years ago.
Of luxury.
It got a hole in it. I don't know how that firework
does the same thing.
Who?
Costco. You can return anything to Costco. It doesn't matter how long you've had it for. Yeah. You can return it to Costco. It doesn't matter if it's 10 years, 15 years.
I'm not returning nothing to Costco. You think I want to lug a 56 pack of Arrowhead water back into Costco?
You think it's all Costco sales? That's Costco.
No, I'm just saying.
Costco sells jewelry and everything in Costco. Yeah. Everything, computers.
They sell insurance too. They saw all kind of stuff in Costco. I was like, damn, are we talking to people like, you got that at Costco? They be like, yeah.
Hey, fighting slowdown. China imposes pay limits on bankers. Amid economic challenges, China is instituting a cap on annual salaries for executives in state-owned financial sector. A significant move given the dominance of these institutions in the country's banking industry. The proposed salary ceiling of 3 million won, or $413,000, comes at a time when financiers' pay has already dwindled due to the economic slowdown triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic and struggling stock market. Additionally, widespread corruption investigations have led to the arrest of over 30 senior regulators and bankers this year, further destabilizing the sector. Major banks have already enforced pay cuts of 10% or more across the board. You know, and this is what I've kind of been hearing about this as well. Is they're telling people, like, if you gotten paid, this is just for like the public sector banks. This is like, because most of the things in China are owned by the Chinese government. Yeah. They do have some that are private, that are, you know, funded privately. They left those guys alone. You can do what you want. You can pay your people how you want to. But the ones that were in the public sector, they were like, you're not making any more than 400,000, 413,000, and it's like retroactive, pretty much. Like, hey, and if it happened, if you got it in the last 5 years more than that, we want the money back. That's some crazy shit to tell somebody.
Yeah, sure. Let me go home and go get it for you.
You're dead in China. You're not going for none of that. They got cameras that watching you all the way home. It ain't like here, buddy. It ain't like here. They're going to watch
put on my O.J. Simpson mask and walk right out the country.
Hey, I would have been
get a golf club. Like, I'm out.
Been out of there.
I'm gone. A long
time ago.
I got to give you what?
And that money's spent. I'm gonna tell you this: that money's gone, bro. You already should know that's out of here. Look at my luxury bags I got on in the house right now.
How you gonna point to the stuff you just bought for it? They're like, yeah, we'll take those too.
Hey, there's no way.
I'm like, I got all the cash at my house. Let me drive there and go get
it. I can't believe that they're even doing something like that. Honestly,
that's crazy.
I feel like that's overreach. That just tells you the Chinese government is going through a lot right now. They're beefing with a lot of different people right now. They're going through a lot of issues, especially financially. And people don't really realize this is going to drive them to maybe having to attack Taiwan. Taiwan's like one of the 20 largest countries as far as GDP in the world. Yeah. I mean, that's a big coup. I think they have over $1 trillion or something like that, $1 trillion economy. Not just picking them up. Now you got them, and now you own all of the
chip sectors. South Korea
out of there.
I'll be gone. That's crazy. I mean, they're gonna start doing that in America when Donald Trump becomes president. He's gonna be like, look, all the people that made money off the merchandise making fun of me, I'm gonna need all that because he can do it. Because he can say it's detrimental, and he can do it without immunity because he's the king now.
I think that it's like he can do. What it is that he can do things that with their official acts and get away with them. I don't know if he can just make any law. He can't supersede, but I do think that they're given an opportunity to be able to try and do these things.
He's going to be able to look, he was doing whatever he wanted before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now he just gets to do it and be like, he said, hey, I can shoot somebody in front of the White House and not go to jail for it. And the Supreme Court was said, let's make sure you can.
So if he takes the Justice Department, he can just say, "Hey, arrest that person." And if they're listening to him, they'll do it.
He had it last time.
Yeah, but now he's gonna fire everybody. He's already talking about, I'm firing everybody. As soon as I get in here, I'm getting rid of everybody, and I'm putting my people in. So if they're willing to follow through on the action,
they aren't even skilled on it. There's people that are loyalists to him, so they'll never leave. Think about it. He had the one lady that was holding up the certification, and she had this minute job where she was supposed to just sign a paper and say, hey, it was certified. And she held off on it for weeks.
He hired somebody to be, I think it was Secretary of State or some job he had, or I don't remember what it was. But he fired a bunch of people who was already in the position because they wouldn't listen to do what he told them to do. And I mean, because what was it, Robert Byrd? I think was he in the, I forget what position he was in. There's a couple of different positions. He had fired like 2 or 3 different people, right?
Yeah.
And then so he could try to get the guy he was in there to do the job. This was during the January 6th thing when he was like, you won't help me overthrow this election. You're fired. You won't help me overthrow this election. He was just firing people. And I believe that now he's going to come right in. They've set him up with the perfect situation with the Supreme Court, what they've done there. And then now they got a plan. They're coming straight in. He said, I'm firing 40, 50,000 people in the federal government, and I'm going to replace them. I'm going to let them go. And what they're going to have to do is go and take it up with the Supreme Court. It's going to take time. You have to take it down to the lower courts. Then it's going to have to go up to the Supreme Court. That's going to take you about a year or more.
I'm going to say some wild stuff. He gonna get elected president, right? Then he'll be like, hey, guess what? Jeffrey Epstein's not dead. I'm going to make him Secretary of Education.
You think so?
Probably.
This guy's crazy, man.
You caught that, right? You caught that, right?
Yeah, he's a Secretary of Education. This guy is crazy, man.
I'm saying they can do whatever they want, man. Let us know what y'all think. Let us know. Like, listen, subscribe. Leave your comments there. We love to read them. We love to respond back to them. Don't get too spicy, because I like to get spicy too. We'll see you next time. Uncommon Courtesy.